Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out this afternoon. Before we get started, just a couple quick heads ups. We'll have a Q&A following opening remarks from our new head coach. Brian Faison will also be available for the Q&A portion of this. We will have a wireless microphone being passed around, so before you ask a question, do ask that you raise your hand and wait for that mic to be handed to you. Following the presser, we'll also have a number of our current hockey players here in attendance for one-on-one interviews. Our new coach will be available for one-on-ones, and Brian Faison will be available for one-on-ones as well. If you need any help with those, just track me down, please. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce the athletic director at the University of North Dakota, Mr. Brian Faison.
Thanks, Jason. Let me first start by thanking you for coming on such short notice. I would be remiss if I didn't add my formal congratulations to Coach Hakstol. We're excited for Dave and for his family and the new adventure, and what a great job Dave and his staff did with this program over the years. I mean, it's one of the best, it is the best collegiate hockey program in the country, and kudos to him and our best wishes. And now we turn to some what I think is really exciting news for the University of North Dakota, and it's going to be my pleasure to introduce to you in a minute our 16th head coach in the program's history. This is a gentleman that brings an incredible mix to this position. He's a proven recruiter. He has an outstanding reputation as a teacher of the game, which is so important at our level. He brings a tremendous energy and passion to the position. But I think the thing that was most important to me in this process was he has the core values and a real understanding of the unique culture that has made UND hockey so successful over these years. And that makes him the right coach to carry this program forward. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you the 16th head coach in the history of the men's hockey program here, Coach Brad Berry.
First of all, thank you all for being here today. It's a very exciting time in my life and my family's life today, and I want to thank you for being a part of it. Before we get going through all the formality here, people know me probably very well being around here a long time. I want to bring up a story about coming to UND in 1983. And when Brian talks about the culture and the tradition, it's about having people around our program that stay here and are deeply rooted in our program. But to get to that story, in 1983, I was a naive 18-year-old freshman coming in here. Gino Gasparini, Dean Blaze, John Marks recruited me to come play hockey at the University of North Dakota. And one of my primary adversaries playing in junior hockey was Tarek Howard, who's in this room today. So we get to UND, and my parents drop me off and in front of Walsh Hall, and I carry my bags up. I look, who's my roommate? Tarek Howard. And that wasn't, I tell you the truth, that wasn't the best day of my life, but I tell you what, this is one of the best days of my life, and one of my best friends is here today, so I really appreciate that, along with Grant Pernick and a lot of other UND alums here. First, I have to refer to my notes. It's been a whirlwind day today. Everything came pretty quick here, and I just want to make sure I don't forget about anybody, but I'm deeply humbled and honored to be the next coach at the University of North Dakota. The bar is set pretty high here. We had some excellent coaches and guys that built the foundation and put the blocks in place. So again, I want to make sure I reach out to those, but before I do, I want to thank President Kelly, Marcia Kelly, Mr. Brian Faison, Jason Hatchdew, Danielle Earl, and all the athletic department for their support. My family, I got to make sure I mention them. Obviously, they're the core of my family and the strength. Suzanne, Brianna, Brooke, and Bauer. They put up with a lot of sacrifices. I had to move away. Once I moved away, I was here 6 years as an assistant coach. I moved away to get experience. And again, it was a value. There was a price tag for that, and they made the sacrifices to leave with me, and I want to thank them for doing that. But now I'm home again, and this is where I want to be. The three people that come to mind early on here about building the program: Coach Dave Hakstol, who's a great friend of Dane and myself, and will continue to do that. He did an outstanding job of raising the bar and the tradition here, and again, he's going to do a great job in Philadelphia, and we're honored and excited for him taking that next step. Coach Dean Blaze and Gino Gasparini, those guys got the program up and running and got going, and again, I want to make sure to thank those guys, because those guys are a key part of all of our success here, and we got to remember those guys. A few words that remind me of those guys and bring substance to our culture here is humility, work ethic, respect, which breeds culture. And we talk about culture each and every day in our locker room. And those guys laid the blocks for it, and we make sure that we uphold it by the players we bring in here. So what's the plan going forward? Well, it doesn't deviate from where we're at right now. Again, we got big shoes to fill, obviously, with our staff here. But again, we've been around this program a long time. We have experience here, and we plan to keep going in that same direction of building it to the ultimate high degree. And we want to set the bar and raise the bar. Staffing is a big key right now. And again, I want to pick out a few people in this audience right now that's going to move forward and be a big part of it. And one of them is Dane Jackson. Dane and I have worked under Coach Hakstol, and we have a lot of transparency within our group. That is something special that I've noticed here at North Dakota versus at the pro level, is a transparency, honesty, and trust within our staff. And again, you have to have that. With Dane, he brings a great perspective of the game. He's got great experience. He's got great rapport with our players. He's enthusiastic. And again, I want to mention that because he's a big part going forward. Mark Poolman, Pat Swanson, Eric Kupka, Dr. Greg Greek, Whitney Duden. That's our staff internally that's a day-to-day operations. And again, if you want success, you have to have good people around you, and those people are good people. And again, lastly but not least is the people at REA here, Jody Hodgson and his staff. That's been a marriage. That's been a great marriage over the last few years. They're a great partner, and again, they are on board with UND hockey. So again, those are the people that I wanted to mention. I want to thank our players. Obviously, it was a busy day for us because the quick turnaround in what happened today. We had to be on the phone with our recruits as far as making sure, letting them know that the program's still going in the right direction. So again, it's been a busy day, but I want to thank our players for being here today, who we reached out to earlier this morning. And again, the last thing I want to mention is, there's a lot of stuff going on here as far as the head coach and assistant coaches and different things like that, but I want to make sure that you know that the real face of the program is the players. And again, what's really neat about college hockey versus pro hockey, for the most part, we get the players that we want in our program. We go out and recruit them, and we have set certain values and standards, and it's about replacing that culture so that culture and tradition keeps going. And again, those players that we get, they're an outstanding representation of what we are. So again, I want to thank the players that are currently here and the ones that are going to be coming in this fall, because that's what the program is about. So at this time, I would like to open up for questions, if anybody has a question. Oh, that was easy. Oh. No questions? Oh, one there? Yep.
Were you surprised? Did this catch you off guard at all? Or what was your reaction to Coach Hakstol telling you he was leaving?
Well, surprised that Dave's moving of going to the NHL. Well, being from that level, I'll tell you what, I was surprised a little bit, but it's not a disrespectful being surprised. Whenever you get a guy from college hockey that goes directly to be a head coach in the NHL, that's something to be said. And I'll tell you what, through the process here, they came at him about, I don't want to overstep my bounds, but I just want to show you the magnitude of Dave Hakstol. They came at him about 3 weeks ago. And, he's all in with our program here, and he turned it down the first time. They came at him again. They turned it down again. And then finally they came at him, and Hakstol said, I'm not taking no for an answer. I want you here. I want your culture. I want what you guys have to bring into our place right here. So at that time, he gave it some thought, and I tell you what, it was a hard decision for him, and he made that decision. And you know what? He's ready for it. He's been here a long time, and he's done really well, and he will do well there.
I don't think there we go. Steve Manny, KVRR, congratulations on the position.
Thank you.
We just heard about this early this morning. Did you find out maybe last night, or did you find out at the same time as us? And how do you plan on continuing the tradition here at North Dakota?
Well, you know what, it came pretty quick. I guess ultimately the final decision wasn't probably a couple days ago, maybe a day ago, to make a true finality of it. But it came pretty quick, and it came in a whirlwind fashion. That's when Coach Jackson and myself sat down, okay, here's what we got to do, and we had a plan in place about getting after recruits and different things like that so that we can maintain the program going forward. The other things filtered out over the last day here, so that became fruition, and that's where it went. But It came quick. It came quick, and I have to commend the people that were in place here to have a plan in place, just as everybody else did.
Brad, two-part question. One, what are your first couple of items in the very short future here? And secondly, I know you've been very close to announcing the recruiting class that would join the program this summer, this fall. How close to you are doing that?
Yeah, we're real close and maybe getting that out to you. But I think the first order of business right now is to make sure that everything is set internally with staff and everything like that. And then after that, we'll get to the rostered players. But we got a big class coming in. We got 9 to 10 freshmen coming in. Significant turnover. So that means that there's going to have to be immediate teaching as far as what we bring to the table in our culture, and we'll do that. But when things settle down here over the course of the next couple of days, we'll make sure that all the information gets out to you, and we'll go from there.
What would a difference maybe the fans will see you compared to what we've seen the last 9-10 years?
As far as a difference, I don't think there'll be a huge difference. I think the biggest thing that we preach in our culture is nobody's bigger than the program as far as mentality, and the way we play is pace of play, and we're not going to deviate from that. There might be a tweak here or there regarding different things. We do have to replace a new staff member, and that's where maybe a couple new ideas may come in. And again, I'm all about surrounding ourselves here with quality people, and that next person coming in is going to add to our group. So again, like I said, it's going to be relatively the same with a couple different tweaks, but we're going to play a fast-paced game, and our pace of play is going to be high, and we're going to get after them.
Brad, Ryan Cunningham from KNOX Radio. You mentioned that you called your recruits after this change was made. Can you tell us what the feedback was from them? What did you hear from your recruits? Were they positive about the change?
Well, so far we got 100% returning. So no, it was very positive. It was very positive. Even to I can't divulge into a lot of different things, but even to the point of the top end kids that we reached out to, them and their parents, they were all in. And I think that had to lead to the continuity of what's going on here. Obviously with Dane and myself and the rest of our staff continue on, that was a big part of it. In this day and age, and I know, from the outside looking in, sometimes when there's a head coaching change, that's an opportunity for other programs to dive in a weak moment. And there was no weak moment here. There was a plan of attack right away, and we got to it. And everyone that we talked to today, we call it all in. They're all in.
Coach Phil Newman from WDAZ. You played here. You've been an assistant coach here. I'm assuming this has always been a dream of yours to be the head coach. When did that become a dream of yours, and what is it like now that it's become that? Well,
first of all, when you have people in place here like Coach Hakstol and Dane and the rest of the group here, you really don't think about it because you're happy with what you're doing. And I know there's sometimes in life that you have goals and aspirations of being that next head coach. There really wasn't hey, I got to be the head coach or whatever. This was an opportunity that came up because of something positive happening for Dave. So again, yes, I am happy and I'm privileged and I'm honored and humbled, but at the same time too, is like, we're a group here that nobody puts themselves in front of each other, and it's pretty much an even keel culture here. So again, yes, I'm happy, and it came pretty quick.
Brad, can you give us a timeline here of the last 24, 36, however many hours that this began to take shape to you being named head coach?
Well, like I said, over the last 48 hours, I think the ball got rolling with a lot of momentum. And before that, there was a lot of ambiguity as far as, the Philadelphia situation. So without revealing a lot of information, which I probably don't know half of regarding Dave, the last 48 hours has been pretty hectic. And again, there's a reason for that. There's people in place here that can do the job, and I'm not saying I'm the only one. There's Coach Jackson and the rest of our staff here that are able to carry on the torch and carry it and raise the bar.
Alex Egan from KVLY in Fargo. Coach, you said you still have to fill a spot on your coaching staff. What is the timeline for that? How are you going to go about that? Do you have people in mind already?
Well, just to let you know, through HR, we have to open it up, and we have to go through the right process, and we will do that. The phone's been ringing off the hook. Dana and myself have got numerous calls, texts, messages, everything as far as maybe an opportunity for them to come into our program. We want to make 100% sure who that person is, and we want to make a detailed job description of what they can bring to the table because, again, the program comes first, and we want to make sure that that person adds value to our program. So again, there's going to be a process going forward, and we're going to go through that process.
Hey, Coach, can you quickly outline your short-term and then your long-term goals going forward now that you have this position?
Well, again, you know the league that we're in, right? The NCHC, a very highly competitive league. Again, we want to be one of the top teams in year after year in that league. Again, we're going to set goals in front of us like we have set goals in years in and years out about being a top team. The national tournament is a goal of ours every year, and then obviously the Frozen Four. So, we have a culmination of what we want to get to. But again, everything, and it might sound like a cliche, but it's a process to get there. You can't overstep one thing to get to another. You got to make sure you go through the process, and that's why we've had success here, is because we make sure we take every day at a time and we go through that process. So again, those are our goals, and we're gonna get to them.
I'm assuming you've had a chance to talk to all of your current players. What's the feedback been like from them as you have introduced yourself as their new head coach?
Well, that's a great question. The social media is a big thing nowadays, and to me personally, being at the pro level at one time, I am surprised how quiet it was leading up to it this day with Twitter and Facebook and everything else. But our players, I think there was an initial, I don't want to say shock, but they were wondering where their head coach went. But at the end of the day, we explained to them about the opportunity, about what he did for our program here in the number of years he was here. And again, like when we recruit players to North Dakota, we give them two things. We give them an excellent education, and we give them a chance to get to the next level. And those are the two things that we base on. Very simple. And it's no different than coaches, and especially with Coach Hakstol, who did everything he did here and had a chance to go to the next level, and he did. So again, we commend him for that. And our players, they got their head around it. And again, I think the biggest thing is knowing that we're moving forward with people that are already in place here.
How about your family, Brad? You're no longer just private person Bradbury anymore. As you know, this position's pretty public and pretty out there. Tell us a little bit about the family and how they deal with it all.
Well, you know what, I think, I know they're excited. They're excited, and they're very humble too. And I think everyone in this room knows me as far as being approachable and what kind of person I am. I think communication is the biggest thing, and I'll never forget. One of the things I learned here, but also there's a couple of guys that are coaching in the NHL today, and you'll see them tonight playing in the New York Rangers, Alain Vigneault and Scott Arniel, and I learned that here too. And it's not so much about everything in life going on, but it's how you treat people and how you respect people, and that's the biggest thing that I learned, is how you treat people and how you respect people, and you'll know that from me as far as going forward here with the program. So again, like I said, it's a big deal as far as the people part of it. Thanks. Thank you. No.
Okay, that'll take care of everything from up here. Coach Barry, Brian Faison, and our players will be available for one-on-ones. Just track me down. I'll help you out with that. There are a lot of non-media here this afternoon. I would just ask that you let these gentlemen take care of their media obligations first, and we can get everyone on their way. So thank you again, everyone, for coming.